Hi, today I'm going to talk about one of the most powerful features of Microsoft Excel called Array Formula. If you want to become a power user of Excel, you need to know how to use Array Formula because you cannot do certain things, or at least it'll take much longer using non-array formulas. If you have done a little bit of programming, you may have run across the term array. In the context of Microsoft Excel, an array is a collection of items. It can contain numbers, strings, or logical values such as true or false, etc. In Excel, an array can reside in a single row or in a single column. It can even reside in multiple rows and columns. So what is an array formula? This is a special type of formula that can perform calculations on one or more items in an array. Array formulas can return either multiple results or a single result. When used in multiple cells at the same time, it's known as a multi-cell array formula. And when used in a single cell, it's known as single-cell array formula. Array formulas are also known as CSC formulas because you must press Ctrl, Shift, and Enter, all three buttons together, instead of a simple Enter, to make Excel treat them as array formulas. Now, let's take a look at a simple example of a multi-cell array formula. Here we have a series of numbers created using simple values without using any formulas. We will try to recreate the same using the row function entered as a multi-cell array formula. It's okay if you're not familiar with the row function. The objective is to demonstrate the array function and not so much as to show you how the row function works. But this is a good idea to know if you want to do some advanced data manipulation in Excel. Anyway, after we select the range, we start typing the function, just like any other normal functions. And once completed, we do not press Enter, rather we press Ctrl Shift Enter, all three buttons together, to convert this into an array formula. As soon as you're done entering the formula, notice how Excel automatically surrounded the formula with curly brackets. Also, you see that Excel placed an instance of the same formula in all the cells of this range. The curly brackets are the specialty of the array formula. You cannot manually type those in and make it an array formula. Excel would simply treat that as a text input. So remember to press Ctrl Shift Enter all together if you want Excel to treat the formula as an array. Now, how can we use array formulas in real-life situations? Here's a table with different products with their unit sold and unit price. We can easily calculate the total sales for each product in column G by simply multiplying unit sold and unit price located in column E and F. Once we're done calculating sales for each product, we can then sum them up in G15 to get the grand total sales. This is fairly simple to do, and I've shown you a normal way of doing it. But using array formula, you can calculate the grand total sales in one go. To do that, I'll simply start typing the sum formula. Open parentheses, select all the entries in the units sold column, and then I'll multiply those with all the other entries from the unit price column. Again, once done, let's press Ctrl Shift Enter to complete the array formula. The result shown here is exactly the same as calculated before. This is an example of a single cell array formula because the result is generated in a single cell. Notice how we reduce the steps needed to calculate the grand total sales. This is one of the major benefits of using an array formula. Although we have achieved the result with a single formula, Excel does all the calculations behind the scene as if they were done like the way we did before. You can use other functions like average in similar fashion. For example, this table shows some initial and new prices, and we want to calculate the average change in price. Like before, we can utilize multiple steps to calculate that, or we can use the array formula to do the job. Excel takes each item from new price column and subtract the corresponding item from the initial price column, and then takes an average of all the differences to produce this result. There could be other interesting applications of array formulas. For example, when you're trying to calculate the sum of a range that has errors, like the division error here, a simple sum function will return an error. But you can use the sum function with an if-error function to get the correct result. We're simply telling Excel to convert all the errors into zeros with the if-error statement before adding them up. There is an interesting alternative to using array formulas in this case, which is available since Excel 2010. It's called Aggregate function. You start the function by typing aggregate, open parentheses, and from the list that appears here, you can choose any of the 19 functions available, including the sum function. Simply select the function, press tab, comma, and then select any of the 7 options listed. The 6th option here allows the formula to ignore the error values. So we select that and press tab, comma, and then we select the range to complete the function. Aggregate function is quite handy, and you should consider using that for many different situations. Let's look at one more example. We have a simple table that we'd like to transpose. There are a number of ways to do that. One way would be, you can just copy the whole table, then you can come down to any cell like D3, and then press the key sequence Alt-E-S. This will bring out the Paste Special menu. Then we can press E to select the transpose. Notice the letter E is underlined to suggest the shortcut. Once transpose is selected, we can then press OK or Enter to transpose the table. So this is one way of doing it. But what if we need to transpose the table with links to the original cells? We can achieve that by using an array formula called transpose. For that, we first need to select correct number of rows and columns. In this case, the transpose table should have 4 columns and 2 rows. So we select that, and then we start typing the transpose function. Then we select the table as the array input. Then press Ctrl-Shift-Enter. This will transform the table with links to the original table. Now, if we change any value in the original table, the transpose table will reflect that. If we do not select the correct number of rows and columns, in this case, we have selected one less column than required, you'll still get a partial output, but that wouldn't be correct. Also note that you wouldn't be able to change a part of an array independently. Excel will return an error if you try to modify or delete a part of an array. This is true for any multi-cell array formula. Now that we got our feet wet with the array formulas, let's summarize some of the advantages and shortcomings of using array formula. First of all, advantages. Array formulas can reduce intermediate steps substantially, as we've seen in a few examples here. This is especially useful when you're building a large economic or financial model. By using array formulas, you can perform calculations that may not be possible otherwise. And since you cannot change a part of an array, that can work as an added safety measure. And linked to the first advantage, reduced number of intermediate formulas can substantially reduce the file size. Now let's have a look at some of the disadvantages. You may occasionally forget to press this Ctrl-Shift-Enter combination and end up having no, or even worse, incorrect results. So remember to press this key combination whenever you enter or even edit an array formula. Other users may not understand your array formulas since they are more complex in nature. And compared to other functions, array formula can significantly slow down calculations. This is of course dependent on the processing speed and memory of your computer. That's about it for now. I'd like to cover a few more advanced uses of array formulas in the coming weeks. So if you like this, please subscribe and also post your questions and thoughts below. Thank you.